Good morning, Pyramid Energy. Well, it's morning where I am right now. I woke up this morning reminded of where this channel started and felt called back to embrace how I'm feeling just the way I did that day when I recorded the first video. I first sat down and did some card reading for myself. This past season, in fact, Mercury retrograde just ended. Someone messaged me on Instagram to ask how it's treated me, and I actually didn't know how to answer that. And after some time, it sat with me, and I realized it has affected me. And my relationship with the planets has changed very much lately. It has changed very much. I don't want to get into that right now. However, what remains is that the shifts that happen in our solar system do have information for us. And once I started to engage with myself and how I'm feeling, some space opened up for me to do a reading for you. And so what I want to say about this past season, Mercury retrograde, it says it started on the 4th of August and ended on the 27th of August. And I don't know exactly what Mercury retrograde means, but nothing actually shifts with Mercury in this sense, but how it is moving and how it looks appears different to how it usually does. And Mercury, being the planet of communication, speaks to the things that are moving within us. Communication for us would definitely point to what we're creating, how our intuition is speaking to us, our relationship with it, all of those things. And I've already laid out your cards in front of me. And it's no wonder I was reminded about where I started. And the fact that I felt like I was resisting, but I was being dragged to these cards, if that makes sense. And finally, when I had them laid out in front of me and I decided I'm going to actually share this, I first did one for myself and then second one for you. And someone next door started using their woodcutter. What do you call it? Not woodcutter, the weed cutter. It was making such a noise. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to push through. I'm going to do this because I'm not going to let what's happening outside stop me from doing what I need to do now. And there's a message in that because I see it in the cards as well. When I reflect on, it's giving me the last 3 months. It's giving me the last 3 months, 4 months even. And I just want to see where that puts us. It takes us from May until now. And what I can see here is that your relationship with your intuition has changed. You come from a space where you've been working to balance it out, working towards almost submitting to your intuition and being fair to it. And like the way I'm seeing it is like intuition is standing in front of you and you're looking at it and you are working at adjusting your relationship with it. So it's as if you actually took the step back from go to let me actually see what my intuition has to say. Let me see whether I can rely on it. Which is amazing because you actually have, you took your foot off the gas pedal. And what has happened in the last 3 months and accelerating in this last one, August, what accelerated during August is, it's like I see someone sliding down a banister You know, that song, we used to sing it as kids. Sliding down the banister, landing on a pin. I don't even remember the rest of the words, but like the pin reminds me of clarity. It's like a sharp pin, and like it pricks you, obviously, but it's clarity nonetheless. And that's exactly where I have you here in the cards. It's like you wanting to become really clear on your vision of what you want to do. And also a dedication. What's actually landed you here is a dedication to make a choice. I've got choices coming up here often. To make a choice that will make you happy and that will build for you, that will contribute towards your, I want to say, your prosperity, your stability. There's a link between what makes you happy and your stability. You have actually made the decision that these two are related. There was a time where we thought that these two cannot be related. How can what I enjoy doing contribute towards my prosperity? This is like a reversal of like an undoing of conditioning, which has been allowed by you just taking your foot off the gas pedal. And what has happened is like, it's like a whole lot of things have sprouted. And I believe that the purpose of this reading is to explain to you that what you're dealing with right now is not confusion. It's not confusion. It's an opportunity to now look at all the work you've done, how much you've developed your intuition, your relationship with it. Your intuition is always there. It's our relationship with it that takes us forward with it. Becoming comfortable with what it says. And you've spent time now and landed at a point where you can feel you're acknowledging that there is a confusion around, okay, now what must I do? Because now I have so many options. Because I could do so many things. So now we've moved from like a scarcity of options to an abundance of options. And now instead of choosing an option, we're getting overwhelmed by how many options we have. And the advice here is there's something I need you to embrace, and I'll get to that. But your advice here is to become comfortable with not knowing how something will turn out. To stay calm, even though you cannot see everything. So what is being offered by the intuition is not the steps to take, but rather to trust that the steps will take you to the right place, and to embrace the step to take as embracing what you love. And I also see here that surrounding you, I see you observing what other people are doing. What a way to confuse a person, to confuse yourself. There are people around you that are not doing what they are thinking about doing. Okay? So if you observe that, you don't realize that you're observing someone who has options of what to do. Like let's say you were watching yourself and you thought you were somebody else. So consider the other people that you look at as like an example of yourself. Imagine they look at you and watch what you're going to do next, and if you're doing something new, Perhaps you're all thinking the same thing. Perhaps you're all thinking the same thing, grappling with that clarity of what to put out and what to offer. I have something I wrote here that I'm going to share with you. It says, why do you make it so difficult when you know what you love? Why not embrace the variety of it all? Why so much all or nothing? You can be in many places at once. Why not embrace duality? In fact, why run from multiplicity? Remember that you love many things. You are not confused, just stubborn, and often one-track minded. Embrace all of your tracks, darling. What does regular mean anyway? You are far from regular. And you know, there's this phenomenon, I think I'll call it that, the one that brings confusion the closer you get to your goal or objective. I don't like talking about dark forces and all that. It's just not, I'm not a fan, because it's a distraction from the objective. And I'd like to rather focus on its purpose. Its purpose is to get you clear. Its purpose is to actually strengthen your resolve towards that thing, that your goal. Just like the weed cutter next door. If I had listened to what it wants to do, I wouldn't have done this reading for you. Instead, I decided, well, this reading is right in front of me and this is obviously the time to do it, so I'm going to do it. And I mean, I've always loved reading cards. And I think what I'm trying to say here is, this is the beauty of following the heart, is that what you love doing won't fail you. You can't go wrong by doing what you love. You might have so many options. You're allowed to love many things. But now that you've spent that time with your foot off the gas pedal, you've like, your relationship with your intuition has changed. It has totally changed. And what made me sit down for this was this nervousness that I picked up from you. This nervousness, it's like an anxiety of like a pressure to move, a pressure to use one of your gifts. So I'm going to say this is the beauty of getting on with it and doing what you love. And once you start, let it be, unless you have like one of those highly organized brains, and you're not stifled by the need to have everything organized. I can get like that. Some people just know what to do. And I don't think that this reading is for them. This reading is for people who like to have things organized before they start. And this interference is actually it's emphasizing how disorganized you feel. So organize your feelings by starting with what you love, and you've already seen its value. And when I say that, I mean that you've already seen that there's a need for this thing to happen, to be done by you. You've figured that out. Now it's about slowly, gradually taking yourself through the steps of action. And I would say that the directions for that is keep it simple, do what you love. Start. And you don't have to reveal everything up front. Things are gonna shift as you go. That's why nothing's pre-organized. You're a person who likes your mind challenged all the time, so leave room for that. Leave room for change. But just do something, do it. Do something you love, do the thing. And I see here in your outcome is a defeat of the devil. This is in terms of the card, the devil, okay? Your readiness to keep reverting to doing what you love and just doing it, that weakens the confusion. It weakens the confusion. And again, like I said, I do believe that the confusion has its purpose. because otherwise I believe we just remain in inertia. Unless we become uncomfortable, we may not move. When we're comfortable, nothing's happening, to be honest. Comfort is not progress. Movement is progress, and sometimes we need a nudge. And that nudge is called discomfort. Yeah. I also pulled a row of chakra cards here. One row, and this is just these are great cards. This is just such a different layout of cards compared to what I was seeing before. Before this period that I mentioned. It's you're actively building your faith. You're giving your faith a chance. You're not engaging your faith like something that just is. You are engaging it, as in making moves based on it, taking decisions based on it, and seeing actually how that is working really well for you. In your third eye, I've also got a really good relationship, a really healthy relationship with your intuition. In your area of expression, I've got you enjoying observing how you're expressing yourself. All the parts of you, all the different aspects of you. You're entertaining those more. You trust yourself more to be able to express yourself in your various ways and not holding back on expressing yourself because you might change your mind. You're kind of playing with your expression. In your heart, I've got the Fool. Oh, I remember doing readings for pyramid energy early on, and in the heart I had an avoidance of all these issues. I had an avoidance of, listen, I'm so excited just looking at these cards, an avoidance of pain, as if we can just get going with stuff, even though there's all this pain sitting inside, too painful to look at. I can't do anything about this pain. I must just acknowledge my pain and move forward, instead of really sitting in it and figuring out how to unweave these feelings so that they can be straightened out. How do you take a leap of faith when you have so much pain? And that's the Fool. The Fool is the one who's not afraid to take a leap of faith. New beginnings with the heart. Allowing the heart to lead you to new places. And your faith protecting you, because you know that your heart won't mislead you. You know, this concept of the heart won't mislead you. My heart has misled me many times. And so I just want to explain what I mean by that. At this point of my healing journey, my heart, I listen to it in a different way. Our relationship with our hearts is also, it's so important, because if the heart is full of, let's call it 70% or 80% wounds, you can't actually hear it. You can't actually feel the heart. You're feeling the pain, and you're letting the pain lead you, the pain of the heart lead you. But when your heart is feeling refreshed, when your heart is feeling refreshed and held and safe, then when those feelings of confusion come up, you're able to recognize them as confusion. And in this case, that's what's encouraging you to be able to take leaps of faith. It's that you're listening to your heart, and that you trust your heart not to mislead you, because you have given it so much attention and you have worked on it. You've built a relationship with your heart. You are protecting it from toxic things, elements, toxic conversation, toxic projections. You've built such a healthy relationship with your heart. Your heart is in the middle, it is in the center of your life. It's how you receive messages, it's how you attract new things. And this is interesting because I usually start with this chakra reading, I start from the base, but now I've started from the crown. And it's a good thing. I believe it's a good thing. And I don't believe it matters where you start from. I think the conversation just starts where it needs to start. In your solar plexus is the Hanged Man. And that's essentially where we are today, and the reason we're doing this reading is getting around what this block is to showing up for yourself in this case. And it is for yourself. Often showing up, we look at it in terms of showing up for the world. But here we are not letting the world lead. We are not letting our external environment lead our action. We are letting our hearts lead our action, and we're letting what we love to do lead our action, because the rest will fall into place. And that's what's been sitting, cocooning. That's what's been sitting, cocooning, and I believe that's what I was feeling, this boiling feeling in my solar plexus that led me here. I believe it's that. In your sacral chakra, I've got a Page of Pentacles, and that is the offer that's it's right in front of you now, and you know what that thing is, and we love many things, but I feel drawn to tell you to do that thing that you find yourself doing anyway. You find yourself in the privacy of your own space, you find yourself doing that thing anyway. Please go look at that. Please share it. Please share that. Please find a way to share that. And in your base, I've got the Queen of Pentacles. And that is a sense that I see value in myself. I can feel myself becoming more stable because I have developed a new relationship with myself, my own value, and how this relates to my stability, my personal stability, how safe I feel as a person. And so that is a beautiful spread. I'm reminding you that you're in a very beautiful place. I'm reminding you about the great relationship you've built with your intuition. Perhaps this work didn't feel very active, but I've always said that this is not, inner work is not a huge job. It requires acknowledgement of pain. It requires acknowledgement of yourself, and not a bypassing of yourself. And I don't know why I brought these cards with me. This is the Moonology manifestation cards. I'm going to just pull one or two to close this reading off. And I just want to check where we are in relation to the new moon. Yeah, so we are a few days away from the new moon, about four days. I don't know if I saw 4 or 5 days. And so let's see. Take a breather. Last quarter moon in Cancer. This is telling me, again, I started this whole sit down here with some breath work. And just to feel where you are and compare your feeling right now with yourself, and even how you engage your thoughts, compare that to where you used to be. I want you to see your progress. I want you to feel your progress. I want you to feel your progress and lock into this new progress as your new peg in the ground. Because your peg in the ground fundamentally has moved. There was a time where one setback would send you back so many steps. That step where you ask yourself, when will change come? When will change come? No, change has already come. And so I want you to acknowledge that the peg has moved. And there's this other thing where we keep hearing about, the change is coming, all the change that's coming. I acknowledge that. But I believe that there's something around our fixed expectations. We have fixed expectations about what change looks like. And right now, can we take a moment and acknowledge that change also comes in the form of feeling? Feeling is how we manifest. Feeling is where change actually happens. And the fact that you actually have shifted in terms of how you feel, that your peg has shifted, that means the manifestation, part of it has already been revealed in your life. The physical stuff is we've got to be patient. Some of it we've got to take action towards it. But you are a different person. You're a different person now. Through your own dedication to yourself and your personal work, you have changed yourself as a person. You're a different individual. You will attract different things. You will create different things. You are a different person. Reflect on your priorities. This is pretty much what we've been talking about during this reading, and your priority is what you love. Your priority being what you love will never change. It's not something that changes. I'm not saying that the thing you love doesn't change. I'm saying the priority doesn't change. And in this card, there's this woman walking away from these icy mountains, and behind her there's also like these icicles of like they're crystals, and she's got a vessel on her head and she's walking in a different direction. And it's like that's what Aquarius does. Aquarius, I mean, this one was in an icy place, coming from a cold place. She's still found a way to draw wisdom from where she comes from, and she's going to use it. Wisdom from her pain, wisdom from her experiences. There are always two sides to an experience, or more, but there's the pain and there's the joy. There's the struggle, but there's also the win that you leave the struggle with, which is information. It's wisdom. It's what you've learned from what you've been through. And to keep that with you and infuse it into what you do. You're a better person to yourself. Last quarter moon in Virgo. Attend to the details. And we are moving into, we're in Virgo season, are we? Yes, we're in Virgo. We are. With this, I'd like you, when you have your own moment of clarity, your own one, is to just, it's going to flow through you. Write down the things you're going to do. Keep it simple, not overcomplicated. It's like there's a window of opportunity that's about to open where you're going to actually be fed the instructions, the steps, on a very basic level, on a very ground level. The how-to action. In this moment, try to just stay calm and not overthink the steps given. Just write them down. And if they come in a second time, do the same thing. But to not interrupt that process, to not interrupt that flow of instructions that's going to come in. Because they might sound very simple, but they're going to be very powerful for you. Thank you so much for listening and for being with me here. Sending you so much love.